Yo. What's up, y'all? This is episode 110 of the Collective Podcast. I am AC from LA. Below me is my guy, Saucier Sr. And to my left and your right. Below me is my guy, Saucier Sr. Hold on. And to my left and your right. I forgot to. Okay, I don't even know which one is playing in a whole bunch of places. All right, to my left and your right is my man. I was like, why are they talking over me? Is my man SG3. Here we go. So I want to start by saying, welcome to my longtime co-host Rodney Saucier Sr. And then hello to our resident guest who is now a permanent fixture in the Collective Podcast. So he is here. Welcome. What do you want to say to the people? SG3.
Man, I'm happy to be here, man. You know how I feel about you guys. You know how I feel about the podcast. You guys are some stand-up gentlemen. So I'm more than happy to be a part of this trilogy right here. So it's a good look, man. And I appreciate you guys for extending your hospitality. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean you know it was inevitable that we would have you. We just needed to make sure. Well, I just needed to make sure that at some point you would just stop talking crazy and just kind of talk. And so finally, you did. So it was time. You you were diligent about showing up and all of that. So I absolutely appreciate that. So yeah, welcome. So we're gonna get into our topics in a minute. But Rod, how was your week? What's going on with you?
Man, I'm beat because I went and saw Mission Impossible last night.
Mission Impossible to get you off a tape delay
for
Go
3
ahead.
hours, and it didn't end till almost 1:30. So don't waste your money. After seeing Top Gun Maverick, I thought Tom Cruise was kind of going to win me over. Last night it
was phenomenal. Was that the first one
Mission
you watched?
Impossible was great.
Was that the first one you watched?
No.
Have you watched all of them?
Yes. I didn't care for that one. It was just long and dragged out.
Okay. Cool.
Maybe you guys are talking two different things. Are you talking storyline or are you talking action? Because I'm sure like it was action packed. So Rod, are you talking more storyline? Or AC, what are you talking, storyline or action?
No, I mean the storyline is, but it's consistent. Like if you go see them,
storyline was cool. It was just
so we're opposite. We're absolutely opposite. Go ahead. All right. Well, here we go. Sam, your week. Tell us about it. Wait, Rod, anything else other than the movie that you don't recommend? That you just blew? Excuse me. Go ahead. Right.
Is there a doctor in the house? Do we need some help?
Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Rod, anything else other than the movie that you want to share about your week before we get going?
No, man, I just worked. That's it. I didn't do anything else but just work and fall asleep.
Okay. So you got some rest?
No. Every time I woke up, it was time to go back to work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you saying? Damn. Are you saying what I'm saying, Sam?
Yes, I am.
All right, Rod. Your video is really broken and it keeps freezing. And now we can't even.
Rod,
see
you look like a hologram, pretty much, Rod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might behoove you to do it. Maybe do it from your phone and then tilt it horizontal, like back in the day. We used to have what's his name do. Just try it though, because it's a little rough right now. All right, what you got, Sam? Your week. What was going on?
Man, I'm coming off of a phenomenal week. So last week I was in Houston for conclave for Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And when I say we had a good time, first and foremost, handling the business of Sigma in terms of our programs, and in terms of all the work we're doing in the community. So we're able to acknowledge and revise some of the things that we're doing and commit to continuing to work throughout our respective communities. But then just the fellowship, seeing brothers I hadn't seen in years, man, it was a great time, a great time. So I'm still riding a wave off of that. Went back to work midweek. A lot's happening in the news cycle. Some of that stuff we're going to discuss today. But yeah, I've had a great past couple of weeks, and that's why I couldn't try to join you last week so that we can get a show under our. So we could have started 110 last week, but no, it's been a great week. A lot of phenomenal things happening, man, and I'm happy to be here, brother.
All right.
What about you? How was your week?
Appreciate that. My week was cool. My week was pretty relaxing. I did have games on. Is this right? Yeah, May 20th. I did have. First of all, sorry. Shout out to my sister Danielle's on. She said she could see Rod, but there's a big difference there. Yeah, we could. That's much better. There's a big difference there. I got you. Boom. Hold on, Sam. Well, right when I add him, it's not. Right when I add him, he froze up and it's black. All right. So I did have games. Thus far, I only had lacrosse. I had lacrosse Tuesday and Wednesday, and I have some basketball today. I did get to hang out with your brother for a little bit, Javon Moore, your fraternity brother, midweek, as you say, on Wednesday. So it's always good to see him and touch base with him. He's a fellow Bruin. And one of my good friends. So it was good to hang with him a little bit. And I wound up working with one of my officials that I don't work with too much, Nelson. So it was good to see him and hang with him a little bit, and then get back to the business of basketball today. Looking forward to that. But one thing that was very clear to me is that I don't mind just being by myself. You know, I really came to that conclusion this week, and I think that most of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like for real. This was Brianna's week with Kayla, and so I was by myself, and I didn't do anything outside of what I just told you. I worked and I officiated, and I was good. And I realized I really like myself, and I mean I knew I liked myself, but I really like myself and I like my life, and so I don't need to bring disruption into that. So it was a good week. Again, episode 110. We false started last week. We're back now. This is the real episode 110. Welcome. Are you frozen, Rod? I guess you can't answer that. He's frozen, huh, Sam? Rod, if you could hear us, you are frozen. We can see you.
I'm like.
And you're very handsome. You're handsome.
The shot actually looks good, but he's frozen.
Right. You're as handsome as ever. But I bet you can't see him now, Danielle. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. I added one thing. We'll just start it off since you started off with your frat. Shout out to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated for starting a credit union. It's called For Members Only Federal Credit Union, and it's for them by them. So it's the first fully woman-owned, minority-owned, woman-staffed federal credit union, first and only to this point in the U.S. And so they started it, and it's literally for them, their families, the employees of their sorority and all of that. But shout out to them for getting that going. And that was reported by Blavity. So let me give that credit. So shout out to them. Following, we can get into this now. Following certain indictments earlier in the year, we found out 2 days ago that there is a trial date set for 45. May 20th, 2024. React.
That definitely is interesting in terms of timing. You know, as we talk, we look ahead to May of next year. You know, in the middle of a presidential race, timing wise, I think it's interesting because, you know, you would imagine all of the candidates will be heavily on the campaign trail at that time. And I'm thinking that's going to definitely serve as a distraction. The Republican National Convention isn't until July, starts July 15th through the 18th in Milwaukee next year. But this could potentially infringe upon some of the traction and momentum he's hoping to gain. And for those that love him, hey, it is what it is. For those that don't love him, it is what it is. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out, because it seems like a lot of things have been kind of thrown to the wall to see what will stick. So I like to see exactly how this thing is going to play out in court. I know that, you know, he's always vocal and visible on social media. So I'm sure we're going to see this thing in real time play out. And I think, you know, kind of get your popcorn ready and be ready for exactly what's about to transpire.
Man, get your popcorn ready. But Rod said, don't get your popcorn ready for Mission Impossible. What do you think about that, Danielle? Rod said it was trash. He said, get your money back. Don't spend your money and have to get your money back. He said it was basura. Danielle, you on? You could type out your response. By the way, Danielle is marketing for us right now, so I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, I said it was great. It was, but Rod. Now, of course, Rod was up way past his bedtime. I'm gonna get back to 45. I'm sorry, Sam. So Rod was up way past his bedtime watching it. He told us, he said it started at 10 something and finished at 1:30 a.m. And you know, Rod usually likes to fall out much earlier than that and still be late to everything. But hey. So here's the thing, Sam, and I must get into this. Had Rod started this silliness at 7:30, we might have been good by now.
We'd have all the wrinkles ironed out. But
but when you don't have an iron and you have a steamer, then you tend to think, oh, let me do it at the last minute. So steamer to the wrinkles as opposed to an iron. Danielle said that all her podcasts gave it high marks. And for reference, for clarity, for visibility, Danielle listens to a number of podcasts about content that she either is viewing or wants to view. So like she's got so much content on the show Succession, and would tell me about, you know, certain things that were happening on there as we were watching the show. And so she is a Mission Impossible fan, has not seen it yet, but has a number of podcasts that she trusts that did give it high marks. So she just wanted us to share that. Rod has not been a guest on any of those podcasts, clearly, but Rod is saying, as a representative of the Collective podcast, that it was trash. Now, just know that I'm saying it is not trash. It was phenomenal. And Sam hasn't seen it, so
haven't seen it yet.
I guess you can say that the word from the Collective podcast is thumb sideways at this point. But then if you trust one word more than the other, then I guess you could go with that. So, all right, but back to 45, a new indictment. It is really so Rod, you missed it, but 45's trial date, his first trial date is May 20th of next year.
Right.
Yeah. So Sam was talking a little bit about that, and I'm paraphrasing, the circus that is 45. and also about the fact that the campaign will be definitely up and running. Will have been amped up by then and ramped up by then, and so it's an interesting time to have that trial. But he also noted that the RNC is in July in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I mean the trial may still be going by then. Who knows? He may be waiting for sentencing by then. We really don't know. He may be off the trail against his will. We really don't know. But that's what we were. That's what we were on now. Did you have any comments on 45 having finally having a trial date, Rod?
You know what? With what I read in the news lately, I just wait until it happens. Honestly, I mean, I was just telling my son Rod that reading the article that they're saying in Florida that students should learn that black slaves benefited from slavery. That alone was enough for me. I mean, that was way over the top. So, and then when there's an uprising or a riot, they're also supposed to learn that Black Americans have their part in it. Basically, it's an even trade-off that we cause as much as we, obtain from it. So when I think about that kind of stuff and then hear about his trial, it's just another day. I don't feel comfortable with what should happen, because it's becoming a political. Well, it's already a political circus.
Okay. Well, actually, interestingly enough, Rod just made me think of Sam when 45 said very fine people on both sides. Right.
And to be clear, so with that latest foolishness in terms of slaves benefiting from slavery in terms of the skill set that they acquired, Ron DeSantis has been a real proponent of removing or erasing or shifting or changing history in terms of, since we don't want a certain sect of the community to feel bad about what slavery did, we're going to go ahead and remove it. And so those were his words in terms of, slaves benefiting from the skill sets that they acquired during that time. And I'm just like, okay, so I had a conversation with a friend of mine earlier in the week. It's equivalent to us racing in a 100-meter race. Tony, you're starting off at 80 meters. I'm starting off from the jump. I'm never going to catch you. The playing field will never be leveled. Right. And when people are able to not have any empathy, that's the problem for me. I'm like, we can talk about this until we all turn blue in the face, but history is history. And so should our history be erased because it makes you feel bad about what your ancestors did? Come on now. We aim to learn a great deal from history. Right. And it seems like our history is the only history that, it seems like it's okay for it to be erased and we'll just move on, get over it. Come on, man. That's weak. It's weak.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
At this point, we can say ancestors. I mean, like, it's not like those people with that mindset have ever left. They just, we're not in shackles anymore, but that's the only difference. Everything else,
and I think,
is there.
You're right about that. You're right.
Yeah, I agree with that. And speaking of Clown DeSantis, I'm sorry, did I give my opinion? He released I don't know why I got this tweet, but he tweeted something out today about woke business owners in Florida. Like I hate when, I hate it, but I hate when now that they feel like they know what the term means, and especially he runs with it, and so he's going after Anheuser-Busch right now for something that they're doing in Florida. I'm not going to go over this whole thing, but he's talking about woke companies and how they're going to have to pay the piper. They're going to have to face the music when they're taking. This is what he said. I'm paraphrasing. No, I'm quoting. Ideology over results. Ideology over results. You're going to have to pay the piper. The pay the piper part is paraphrasing. But this is the guy who's running Florida and who wants to run the country. Oh boy. All right. We can move on from 45. So big night in Major League Soccer. There's a fella by the name of Lionel Messi who decided to grace the MLS and the United States with his presence. He is number 10 for Inter Miami, and they played, who is it, Casa Azul? I feel like that's a drink. All right, hold on. What's the name of the team they played last night? Oh, why did I do that? Oh, Cruz Azul.
Azul.
Cruz, yeah, right? Cruz Azul. So, Cruz Azul, they played. Inter Miami scored first, so it was 1-0, and then Cruz Azul scored the equalizer, so then it was 1-1, and then we wound up with PK, or they wound up with PKs late, and Messi, woo, woo, woo. When he kicks it over the wall, and I'm talking about, if you know football, I'm talking about the wall of people. He kicks it over the wall to the left, bends it back to the right, and it's top left corner out of reach of the keeper, and they win 2-1 in stoppage time. This dude got a PK penalty kick. Some of you guys may not know the sport. A penalty kick in stoppage time. Stoppage time means the time that they don't stop the clock in football, soccer. Football, soccer. So when you have injuries and stuff, Clase Azul. Okay, thank you. When you have injuries and substitutions, as the clock is not stopping, the referee is keeping note of that amount of time, and that gets added on at the end, and it's called stoppage time. So when you reach the 45-minute mark in the first half, the referee will say 2 minutes of stoppage time. So then you'll go to the 47-minute mark, but it still only counts as 45 minutes of time. When you get to the second half, you're going minutes 46 through 90, but you could have stoppage time. And this was actually in the third minute of stoppage time that he kicked the game winner penalty kick. And it was phenomenal. Like, it melted. Like, I really do like the sport, but I also like when the big names come and play in MLS. I think that is so cool. And he was like a kid in a candy store. Like, he was first of all, so excited to run onto the field. And then when he set up for that PK, you just know, like, this is like when they announced him, they said the world's number 10 is now Inter Miami's number 10, our number 10, Lionel Messi. Like, he embraced it all, looking great in his pink uniform. And he was just, when he kicked it, you saw his eyes light up before it even went in. He knew. And then I got goosebumps. I'm getting them again, and I'm not even watching it. I'm getting them again. Okay, Messi, react.
Messi, oh my gosh. You can't say it enough. In his debut. So when you're talking debut, because let's rewind. Remember when he first was signed, everyone talked about the money. Oh my gosh, almost 150 million for 2.5 seasons. 50 million this season, 60 million next season. There's some incentives also. But when you see the largest sport in the world and this iconic figure come to the US, and in his debut, the excitement surrounding all of it, mass hysteria, I'm all for it, bro. I'm all for when you look in the stands and you see 60,000 fans going bonkers. I'm all for it. All for it. I was happy to see it. I was happy to see him specifically win the game in his debut. I'm all in. I'm all in, bro. Yep.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
Like it's great. And with both of my sons have played soccer, football. So for me, brother, there's nothing greater when you see how so many cultures are really just involved in the game of football and get so excited around the game of football and the passion around it, man. I love it. What about you, Rod?
Man, it's great for the sport, especially with him scoring in his first game. Is everything you hope for. Everything. I missed the game. I'll watch it, on a replay, but that's what I was hoping would happen. And I think it'll draw that many more fans to the sport, especially in the US where it's not as large as it is in Europe per se, but it's almost like when Gretzky came to the Kings, in my opinion. It's like it just changed everything. I think he'll do that for soccer and make it more appealing for people who don't watch it or who watch it here and there. I think he'll win people over. They'll see him a lot more.
Wow, Rod. I think that's a great analogy. It wasn't so much international. I mean, it was international. There is a comparison because Canada, even though it's North America, is not the US, and the great sport of hockey is way larger in the country of Canada than it is in the US. And so when you look at Wayne Gretzky, not just leaving the Edmonton Oilers, not just leaving his team, but leaving the house that he built, right? Leaving the Edmonton Oilers and then coming not just to another team in the NHL, but a team that had some success, but had never been a staple in the NHL. And then he came over and just made hockey so much more relevant, not only in California, but in the US, even though all he did was switch teams in the NHL. So I think that you make a great analogy there because he did change how most people in the US looked at hockey. And so I don't think that Messi can change how most people look at soccer, but he's such a larger than life figure in football that he's making, even, you've both said it, he scored in that first match. He's here, people were saying it's all about so what? It's, even if it is quote unquote all about the money, the marketing in and of itself, but he loves the game, right? He wants to be here. Interestingly enough, he didn't go build a super team. I don't know why I brought that up. He didn't go build a super team to come here. He came to like a lesser team. He's like, all right, I'm signing here. And he's on loan for 2.5 seasons, and we'll see what happens. But last night was phenomenal. It was absolutely great to watch, and I'm glad.
One point that I'd like to add as we talk about bringing awareness to the game, the MLS has a great opportunity to really get in communities across the U.S. where if these communities aren't really aware of the game, aren't really knowledgeable of the game, to truly introduce it to kids that look like us, to brown and black kids in communities, so that the game could really expand, because it starts at the ground level. If you can get kids excited about it, kids are going to immediately talk to their parents about it. And that's what I'm hoping we see with the game. Like, yes, it's exciting to see him, him lead his team to the next level. But I think it's really important to introduce that game to communities that may not see the game. Because you go into so many different communities, especially minority communities, first thing you see is what? Basketball, football. Those are what we gravitate towards. So let's introduce the game to communities that may not be as well versed or understand the game at an early level. And I think that's when the game can truly pick up some traction here in the U.S.
Yeah, thank
you, Danielle. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and it is a great opportunity here, for MLS, like you said. And I saw the different, well, really, the U.S. women's national team and the different leagues that they've helped spearhead, you know, following the World Cup win in '99. You know, girls in soccer have grown. The idea of girls, not the idea, girls playing soccer in the US grew significantly and continues to grow exponentially since 99. And I think that the different women's soccer entities, not the least of which is the NWSL, which is playing right now, but other leagues that have started and haven't really lasted but have tried, have taken advantage of that momentum created by the women's national team. Now, MLS, you know, who has had a couple of players, you know, Beckham came. I can't remember the other guy's name who might still be on the Galaxy. Can't think of his name right now, but he came. Like, some international stars have come. And this is an opportunity for someone who is still in his prime and who is beloved across the world and has such a recognizable name and recognizable face, capitalize on this and continue to grow this sport here at home. I think that's a great point, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So moving on, we recently had the WNBA All-Star Game. And we had Team Stewart, which is Breanna Stewart, was the second leading vote getter. So she was the captain of team number 2. And the top vote getter was A'ja Wilson, my dog, my favorite player. And so they picked teams, and A'ja Wilson basically picked all of the aces on her team, and Stewart picked all of her teammates. And then beyond that, they just went back and forth. And Jewel Lloyd happened to be on Team Stewart, and Jewel Lloyd went nuts. She had 31 points, and she was the All-Star Game MVP. There was one time when Nneka Ogwumike got a rebound, and there was a player that was much shorter than her that was trying to get the ball from her. She just held the ball above her head. And just laughed, just laughed at old girl who couldn't get the ball from her. So that was funny. That was kind of cool. But great game, a lot of fun to watch. And then at this point of the season, the Las Vegas Aces are 20-2, which means they've won 20 of their first 22 games, and they've tied for the greatest start in WNBA history, winning 20 of your first 22. They're the 4th team to do it, and the first 3 won the championship. So let's see if it can happen again. I'm pulling for the Aces. No shade on the Sparks. The Sparks became my second favorite team as soon as A'ja Wilson came into the league. So nothing I could do about that. There you go. What you got, Sam?
Brother, I'm going to start off. Let's give these women their flowers. We're going to kick things off with the Aces, man. When I look at head coach Becky Hammon, she has put together a team, or she is crafting and coaching a team that is phenomenal. When you have 3 players on one team, A'ja is averaging 20 a game. You got, after her, Jackie Young is averaging 19 a game. And then one of my favorite, Kelsey Plum, is averaging 19 a game. Balanced scoring attack. And the greatest thing about when I watch the WNBA, or when I watch just women's basketball, even we're talking D1, 2, 3, looking at how fundamentally sound they are, you know, I think a lot of times when we talk basketball, everybody wants to see raw athleticism and these freak athletes. But when I'm looking at fundamentals, bounce passes on the dime, people that can, women that can shoot the lights out, crazy handles, man, I love the Aces right now. I love what's happening with the WNBA, seeing these women that are really getting after it. And I really think that, man, we need to acknowledge, like, top tier basketball is top tier basketball. And I get it. We've had a lot of back and forth in terms of the WNBA. I don't know if it was marketed well out of the gate. It doesn't appear so for me, because if you watch a game and if you study the game, if you love the game of basketball, man, it's phenomenal to see these women getting after it. They can ball. And I know, was it you, Tony, that told us a story? You were hooping with some pro female athlete, pro basketball players or something, or college basketball players, and they were lighting it up. And
yeah. So okay, I'll give you that real quick. So yeah, it was back in 97. Not 97. Yeah, 97. It was going into wait, what year was the Olympics? 96. It was 96.
yeah, 96.
Yeah, 96. 97 just doesn't even sound right. I was thinking it was the year before. But actually Trey and I were at Sports Club LA. And he taught dance there, and so he always had access to the gym. So we were up there hooping, and the Olympic team came in, or the U.S. women's national team came in. No, I wasn't saying that it wasn't that 97 was an Olympic year. I was thinking that we played with them the year before the Olympics. But what I'm thrown off by is 97 was the year the WNBA was founded. And so that's why that was in my head, because we were playing with future WNBA players. And so I couldn't remember if it was 96 or 98 that was the Olympic year. But 96, 2000, 2004, I got it. So we were there, and the Olympic team, most of the women's national team came in. Dawn Staley, Nikki McCrae, Katrina McClain, Teresa Weatherspoon. It was like people were there, like rest in peace, Nikki McCrae, one of my favorite players of all time. So we got to play with them, and so it was amazing. And when I tell you that Katrina McClain posted me up, like it should be nothing, because Katrina McClain is, she's a body. But like, what was I gonna do? Like, she was moving me all over the place. And it was fun. But that's when I really fell in love with women's hoops, because it was a game changer for me. So then it became my mission to not only celebrate women's basketball, but become a sports writer who covered it and da 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 da. But that's neither here nor there. You go ahead and finish your point. I just wanted to clarify what it was. So go ahead.
Yeah, my point is, man, let's make sure that we acknowledge the greatness of these women, acknowledge the greatness of women's basketball on all levels, starting, it can be kids, middle school, high school, collegiate, professional. Acknowledge the fact that, man, these women are getting after it, and it's some darn good basketball, man. I will, at any time that I can, man, I try to make sure I tune into a WNBA game, because these women deserve their flowers. So I'll get off my soapbox, but I wanted to shout out those members of the Aces, starting off with Coach Hammond, because, man, they're getting it in.
No,
all right, Sauce, man, what about you?
Yeah, the greatest thing I've seen in a long. 2 weeks ago, Brittany Griner caught a ball in the post on the block without a dribble, spun around off the vert, dunked it on someone. Yeah, this is this is why I ref women's basketball, because it's coming. This is why. Man, you know what? It's with Chelsea Gray and Plum and Asia Wilson on the same team, it's almost not fair. I mean, like, I think anyone knew how good Kelsey Plum was, but with her on a team where they can't really go and sag and play Asia Wilson a certain way, they're unstoppable. I don't see this team losing at all for maybe the rest of the year. They're that good. If they do lose, they may lose one kind of, as the season winds down and they start resting a few bodies for the playoffs, but they look unbeatable at times.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So Rob mentioned three of the players, and didn't mention Jackie Young. And when you have that kind of situation where you have a host of phenomenal players, and to ride Jackie Young is an afterthought, and she's phenomenal and she's an all-star, you really are stacked. Now that's the core four that they had last year, and then they've added Candace Parker for support. But I know Rod doesn't believe in Candace Parker, and never did. He thinks that she's all hype, but it's cool. But like, yeah, 20-2, and the two that they lost were close, and they've pretty much just been running over people. So I absolutely, excuse me, agree that it's excuse me, they look good, and they're gonna be all right for sure.
Yeah,
she's good. She's just soft. That's all.
Yeah, Mission Impossible sucked.
It was long and drawn
The
out. That's all.
Lakers,
It
historically
didn't
speaking,
suck. See, you take my words and you just stretch them a mile. I never said it sucked. I just said I didn't care for it because it was long and drawn out.
You said don't waste your money.
Yes.
All right. How about this? This is what I propose. I guess I'm going to be the deciding vote. I'll shift it because I'm going to be the deciding vote once I see it. Then we'll come back and have this conversation.
Can you be the deciding vote on Candace Parker, who he just called soft?
The tapes don't lie.
Tomato. I like Candace Parker myself.
The tapes don't
I think
lie.
she has a nice mid-range game, but I don't know. Okay, Rod, when you say soft, is it because she's not on the block? She's look, are you saying because she's not on the block doing a drop step and a dunk?
He doesn't know what he's saying.
Not at all.
He doesn't know
not at all. She in the regular season, she's almost incredible. When the postseason comes, she's non-existent, and she's looking for a whistle every single play.
How many rings you got, Rod? How many rings you got? Like, let's not do this. One. Just one. Just one. We're not doing this. Leader for those two championships. Don't do that.
I understand how you feel when you really like somebody. You don't like.
It's not about me liking. It's not about
me. It's cool, AC. I know how you roll with it, but she's soft. Well, her postseason record speaks for itself. Now you can say what you want, but even in this last championship she got, the player that was already there did mostly all the scoring in the postseason. All you have to do is look at it. What?
You don't have to do all of the scoring, and you called her soft. Okay, all right. It's cool. You also don't believe that she. Okay, it's fine. You think Candace Parker is soft. I would say that you're absolutely in the minority in the world, but you're entitled to that opinion, and this is a place where you're allowed to.
That's not to say she's not good. She's just soft.
It is. To say that person is soft is to say that you're not good. It's fine. She's soft, according to you.
Yes, very.
Way worse than Mission Impossible. All right, cool. All right, moving along.
We did see her play for the Sparks on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I don't even like.
We did see how she played in the playoffs when they got there every year.
Yeah, and
she did absolutely nothing. Just go look at the box score. You don't have to take my word for it.
And I'm not going to take your word for it.
You shouldn't. Just look at the box score. She did nothing.
I'm not going to look at a box score. So we're also so you can't live your life on. Well, you can do what you want, but Rodney Saucier, Senior, you can't live your life on the numbers don't tell the whole story and the numbers lie.
I'm telling you to look at the box score. I watched the game and saw the box score. She did nothing.
So yes, I got you. Did nothing. You know how I live my life. Agree to disagree and move on. We're moving on. I'm not looking at a box score. I'm not looking at tape. We disagree and we're moving on. All good. So the Washington Commanders, formerly known as the Washington Heaping Pile of Trash, have a former owner or a present owner who's not quite out yet, but who is almost out. Shout out to Magic Johnson for being part of that ownership group. Magic Johnson got his hands in everything. Oh my goodness. Has been fined $6 million. Is that the right number, Sam? 6 million?
60.
No, it's $60 million.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah. Thank you, Rod. $60 million. So, I mean, does it mean anything? I mean, he's a multi-billionaire.
That's a slap on the wrist.
It's a slap on the wrist.
60 million is dropping a bucket. Nothing. 60 million is a drop in a bucket.
Yeah.
Right. He's getting ready to sell that team for billions. 60 million
for $6 billion. Nothing. He's selling it for $6 billion.
Well, that's where I got the 6 from. Okay, thank you.
$6 billion. So 60 million is a drop in the bucket. Move on. He rides off into the sunset.
Where's the? Let me ask you this: where is the 60 million going?
Strippers.
Well, the 60. What'd you say, Rod?
Strippers.
Yeah, because you know what the 60 million was for. It was for harassment, sexual harassment that has been founded.
So is it going to the victims?
I think a portion. I don't think that entire 60 million is going to the victim or victims, but I think a portion of it is. I don't know how all of it is allocated though.
So this is why I'm asking. Because again, the numbers don't tell the whole story, right? So 60 million to Daniel Snyder is one thing, but 60 million to victims, and if the money is going to good causes, not necessarily a drop in the bucket, right? Not just life changing, maybe organization changing, maybe community changing. Let's find out where that 60 million is going or is supposed to go, and then we can circle back about that. Okay, that's what I have on Daniel Snyder. Y'all want to add anything before we move on?
Yes. So back to the real MVP, as you acknowledged. Let's look at Magic Johnson's portfolio, brother.
Oh, you got his portfolio.
When you look at what he has his hands in now, with a percentage of ownership with the Commanders. Of course, we know about his percentage with the Dodgers, LA Galaxy, and with the Sparks. So Magic Johnson is truly the MVP. I don't know if you saw a video from yesterday. He was at a press conference and they had pretty much a glorified pep rally, and Magic was up there dancing. And I was just really happy for Magic Johnson, man, in terms of, yes, he has a minority stake, but when organizations are aligned with Magic's presence, you're able to see a lot of great things happen. And I'm really a huge Magic Johnson fan in terms of his business acumen and the philanthropic work that he does. You know, I ride for Magic more so. I loved him when he was in the league, of course, but looking at his business acumen, man, it's impressive. And I know people say, well, he's not the majority owner. Who cares? Magic has his hands in a lot of great things, a lot of developments in communities that typically don't have resources. And I really commend Magic Johnson, so I want to give him his flowers as well.
Yeah, love it. I do too. I remember where I was when the announcement happened. I left Montgomery Ward. Montgomery Ward over in Hawthorne. I was getting something. What was that?
At the Hawthorne Mall. That's an old school reference.
Yeah. What was the PlayStation? The handheld, not PlayStation. Yeah, the PlayStation. The whatever that device was called. Was it PlayStation? No. The Sony handheld device, not PlayStation, but whatever that thing was called. I was getting Joe Montana's game for that, and then I went to and I was coaching.
Was that Dreamcast? Was it a Dreamcast?
Nah, that was an actual console. I can't remember what the handheld thing was called.
But Sega Genesis?
No, not Nintendo.
Okay.
Yeah, Sega Genesis. No, not Sega Genesis. It was Sega though. What was the Sega thing called? Because it was a Sega game. What was the Sega handheld platform?
Let's see.
Okay, look it up. Anyway, what's up, Nina? Oh, Nina. Shout out to Nina. It's been a minute. Okay, so I was there.
Sega Game Gear. Sega Game Gear. That's it.
Yeah. So I was getting my Joe Montana game for Game Gear. I got back to the practice, or I got to the basketball practice at St. Bernadette, and the head coach, Lance Raggis, shout out to Lance Raggis out of Sarah High School, whose son subsequently went to St. Anthony, and I think played for 1 year. I think 1 year with Anthony Cobb's son. 1 year. I don't think they played more than 1 year together. But Lance Raggis, shout out to him. His son went to St. Anthony, and if I reffed his game, then he couldn't have played with Cobb. So no, he's older. Anyway, Lance was the head coach, and he was like, "Hey, Tone, we don't have practice today." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Man, we about to go watch this press conference." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Magic Johnson is he got it." And I was like, "He got what?" He was like, "He got it." And I was like, "Nah, you just like in our culture, like certain things you just don't even have to say. And we just back then, I knew what he meant by he got it. And so he, when he had that press conference and said, "So I have to retire from the Lakers," it was like we weren't crying because he was retiring from the Lakers, but we were crying because Magic Johnson was about to die. And he was great. Like he was great. And he was about to die from HIV. That dude didn't die. That dude has just had an exponential impact. So many people's lives have been changed just by crossing paths with him. Every time I'm on this podcast, this thing rings. That's really crazy. Anyway, all right. So yes, the real MVP, Irvin Magic Johnson out of Michigan State. I thought my guy Leland Stein III was going to come on today, who also went to Michigan State, but he didn't make it. All right.
If you just
NBA.
go to a game, just go to a Dodgers game since he's taken over, you can feel the difference from if you went to a Dodgers game prior to him being a part of that group. It's a huge difference in the atmosphere of a Dodgers game since Magic's been involved. Starting with a DJ, with the players getting the walk-up music. When Will Smith goes up to bat, they were playing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They were playing, who was that? He's no longer on the team, but they were playing
Jock Peterson. Jock Peterson.
Yeah, they were playing Young Jock. I mean, like Magic had his prints from all over that stadium, and you can feel the difference when you go to a game, and it seems to be that many more fans who show up every night versus the way it used to be, and they were good before, and they're still good, but the atmosphere is different. It's lively. You're not just sitting there because baseball games can feel long at times, but a Dodgers game doesn't have the same feeling that other ballparks have. There's a huge difference, and I know he's going to bring that same energy to DC. He's going to. I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think to add on what you're saying, even looking at the renovation of Chavez Ravine, they did that reno, remaining mindful of the nostalgia of it, because they could have torn it down and built a new stadium. But the nostalgia, especially if you're from LA, the nostalgia of going to Chavez Ravine, going to Dodger Stadium, seeing that Spirit of 76 sign, man, all that is still there. But then they came in and did a nice reno inside, man. So yeah, I agree with you, Rod. I think he's going to bring that energy that's needed, and I don't want to see a Washington Commanders team that's top of the league, because I represent Raider Nation. But hopefully, we'll see what he can bring to that team to kind of change the image of the team.
I hope
I'll digress
to the way it was when I first moved to DC for college. There was a 20-year wait list for, back then, Redskins tickets. You could only get tickets through a scalper. Redskins tickets were sold out for 20 years in 1988. And to me, that was incredible to just even think about that. I hope it gets back to that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So he constantly has an impact. I want one editor's note. I'm not sure who said it. It's not the LA Galaxy. It's the Los Angeles Football Club. Very important distinction there.
You're right. LAFC.
Very important.
Right.
Yeah. But he makes an impact constantly. Like I don't know how much leeway he's going to have out there, but hopefully they utilize his mind. That dude knows how to get people in your stands and how to get people or your arena, and he knows how to get people to love your organization, right? Whether it's sports or Starbucks, right? So yeah, let him do his thing, and good luck to them. And as the NFC East goes, why not them? I don't like any of them other teams. I definitely don't like the Cowboys or the Eagles. I don't really care about the Giants or the Commanders, but I do like Ron Rivera. So there's that. Moving on to the NBA. Thanks for that, guys. Moving on to the NBA. James Harden this morning requested a trade from the Philadelphia 76ers. And let me give you guys one piece of information. Because this is his final year, the final year of his contract. He is under contract, and this is the final year of his contract. If he does not get traded and he chooses not to play and he sits out for 30 days, the collective bargaining agreement states that he is not a free agent at the end of the year unless the Philadelphia 76ers say that he's a free agent. React.
Brother, if you've been on social media over the past season, James Harden is not wanted in Philadelphia by the fan base. So therefore, even looking at the structure of the team, ball dominant James Harden, ball dominant Joel Embiid, and then you will, with the two of them dominating the ball, the kid that really aims to benefit the most with Harden if he's out of there is Maxey, because Maxey's game has taken off. And I see that with Maxey being a young talent, he can create his own shot. He can also score off the weak side if he can hit the open jumper. I hope that Harden gets the heck out of there because I think it slows them down. Embiid, first of all, if you give him the ball, you're not getting the ball back. So if you have two players like that are kings of the ISO, you're never going to get over the hump. I just don't know who's going to be the suitor for Harden. I've heard speculations that he might end up back in Houston. What does that do for Houston? I think any team he goes to is going to be a team that's going to suffer because he wants to be ball dominant and he wants to run ISO every play. So I don't see the experiment working out anywhere that he goes.
So, all right, I have a comment, but Rod, do you have a comment before we move on? Because we're about to wrap up soon. You got a comment?
I don't know who would with what Philly would ask for in return. I don't know who would be foolish enough to trade for him at this stage of his career. I don't. So I don't see him being moved. He'll probably figure out a way to say he has a sore back or hamstring and sit out as many games as possible. One of those undetectable injuries that you can't say, well, he doesn't have it or he does have it. He'll just sit and try to wait it out and see what happens, I'm guessing. But yeah, Miami talked about a deal with Tyler Hero. They're not going to give up other players for him, but they did speak of giving up Tyler Hero because I think they're holding back some other assets for Damian Lillard, and they're still trying to work that out.
Hey, wait, hold on. Nina, you say the Suns want everybody who doesn't work out somewhere else, like Kevin Durant. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Well, that's funny. Thank you for that, Rod. So it's really interesting. The Kevin Durant experiments have not worked out without Draymond Green. Let's just be clear. They have not worked out.
Here we go.
So I don't know that a James Harden experiment is good. James Harden is from the house, right? But has James Harden done anything without Serge Ibaka? And no, I'm just kidding. All right, so I'm all over the place. Austin Reeves said that Russell Westbrook was a great teammate. I just wanted to throw that at you because they really love Austin Reeves now, and he shouted out Russell Westbrook as a teammate and as a person. So I just wanted to throw that out there because Russell Westbrook gets a bad rap. James Harden. Here's the problem, Rod. I'm going to respond directly to what you said. If he does the sore back thing, he doesn't have as much cachet as Kawhi Leonard did. And, we're not saying that Kawhi Leonard really had a deep thigh bruise or a growing injury or whatever. But if your stock is down and this is as evidenced by Russell Westbrook signing a $4 million contract. If your stock is down, then you might want to play this year to get your stock back up. You do have something to prove if people don't want you. Now, if people do want him, then that would work. But then if people want him, then they would probably just figure out how to trade for him. And Philly is really in a no-win situation if he doesn't want to be there and the fan base doesn't want him there and the experiment didn't work. So I think that they will do what it takes to move him. So I wanted to throw that in there. They're going to move him. Now, speaking of people who have requested trades and are on the trading block and may get traded for Tyler Hero, there's also Damian Lillard. The Portland Trailblazers have obviously decided to go in a different direction, a direction other than the direction Lillard wanted them to go, because they didn't trade their draft picks to find someone to help win now. They basically traded someone who plays Damian Lillard's position. Drafted someone who plays Damian Lillard's position or plays like Damian Lillard's game or will one day be like Damian Lillard. And they knew going into that draft that if they did that, then he was going to request a trade. So he subsequently did. He also only wants to go to Miami. And we keep hearing they're far apart. They're close. They're far apart. They're close. They're far apart. They're close. It's like a yo-yo. By the way, Kayla's learning how to play with a yo-yo. And that's what the Portland-Miami thing reminds me of. Do you guys think that Miami is going to get Lillard? And if so, how do they get it done? And if not, what in the hell happens in Portland? And be quick.
Once players start to make it known where they want to be and that they don't want to be in a certain place anymore, it's almost like teams, and they don't have to, but they're almost forced to say, hey, we got to go ahead and get him out of here and get what we can before he leaves for nothing. And he still has years left on his contract, but you don't want a malcontent on your team. And I know Damian Lillard is definitely not one that's unprofessional and who would be a malcontent. So I'm sure they know his personality and know he'd be a professional, but you don't want a player stuck there who doesn't want to be there either. On the flip side with James Harden, there's no telling what he would do if he didn't get his way and find a way out. Mm-hmm. And I think he could definitely be a distraction for a team in the locker room and to the organization itself if he's not out.
Yeah. So Nina,
Harden could be Ben Simmons part 2.
Right. I could see that with him.
Wow. Hold on. I'm gonna come back to that. So Nina, Chicago's off the list only because off of Lillard's list, yes, he only wants Miami right now. Now that may change if Miami can't get it done, but that also handcuffs Portland, Rod, to kind of counter your point or to respond to your point. It's not really just about them. If he only wants to go to Miami, then they have to figure out how to get the deal done with Miami. Now, if he opens that up a bit, that's different. And by the way, Nina, y'all got Bradley Beal. So I think he might be a game changer for you guys, much more than the hoops hyped Kevin Durant, who again has done nothing without Draymond Green.
I honestly think the only place I see Harden being able to go to without an issue is Atlanta, because people are fed up with Trae Young there, and people are fed up with James Harden in Philly, and they could be good trade partners. But other than that, I don't see Harden going anywhere else.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So now we come to, I don't even really care. So here's the thing. Where can that dude go that he can win so that he can shave that damn beard? It's got to be a team. It's got to be a team.
He's not man. Come on now. Listen, your beard would be shaved off before his beard. There you go. His beard is never. The beard is never shaving his beard. You won't see it.
my goodness, it's so I don't know. Well, here's the thing. I'm just gonna throw this out there. You guys know I don't want I'm not a fan of LeBron. So let's just reiterate that. But now pest control got rid of the little pest. So he's not in Phoenix anymore. But they also got rid of Monty, so that sucks. But I don't care if Phoenix wins, but I also don't see Harden going there. So, so much for that, Nina. I don't think you guys will win, and I don't think you'll get Harden. So that's a good thing, right? You don't want Harden, but I also don't think you'll win. I don't think Portland's ever going to win. Go ahead.
As we talk Phoenix, I'm wondering, can D-Book and Bradley Beal coexist?
Yes. Bradley Beal
that's what I wonder.
Bradley Beal is a chameleon. He will do whatever it takes to win. Listen, yes. Bradley Beal is going to show y'all what y'all been missing. That dude is out of purgatory. He going to get busy. I'm just saying. You mark my words, Bradley Beal, as part of the supporting cast, will come off the bench in the All-Star game. Bam. Throwing that at you. All right.
Heard it here first. I'm writing it down so we can revisit this.
Yes, you heard it here first. And it has nothing to do with Money Green 23. We're just talking about somebody, across the way, out in the desert. Nina, are you okay? Y'all have a heat wave right now. Okay, moving on. Major League Baseball. I put up Tane. I meant Ohtani, right? So Ohtani's on the trading block. I hope the Dodgers get him. Let me respond to you. You said Raider Nation, which made me think of the movie The Blackening. Did either one of you see The Blackening?
No.
I have not.
Okay. The Blackening was phenomenal. I bought it. I didn't get a chance to see it in theater, so I paid $24.99 on Apple to watch it by myself because I like being by myself, right? This is fun. It was really good, and there's a character in it from Oakland. I'll leave it at that. Moving on, Sam, did you ever watch what is it called? Blind Spotting. No, it's not called Blind Spotting. What is it called? Oh my God, what is the show called? Danielle, what is the show called that I'm talking about? Yes, The Blackening. Must see. What is the show that I told you about? The Oakland show. Oh my God. Somebody help me. Please. Anyway, have you seen that show, Sam?
I don't even know what the show is called. So it
is Blind Spotting. It is Blind Spotting. I was right. You haven't seen it? It's amazing. Go check it out. It takes place in Oakland, and it's about Oakland culture. And I'm just saying because you're Raider Nation. But well, you guys both are. But Rob, yeah. But I don't know how Rob feels about Northern California per se.
I love
and Rodney. I think you like. Oh, you do. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's an amazing show. It's 2 seasons in, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. All right, moving on.
Ohtani is on the trading list now.
Okay, Ohtani is on the trading block. Hope he goes to the Dodgers. Listen, the American League East. I just wanted to throw this out there. Right now, that's the strongest league in baseball.
Yeah, with the Orioles in first place.
Strongest division in baseball. They are the only division with all teams over 500.
Yep.
All teams. And right now, the Baltimore Orioles, to your point, and the Tampa Bay Rays, I almost said Buccaneers, and then I almost said Lightning, are tied. But the Orioles are percentage points ahead, so that's why they're tied for first, but that's why they're ahead in the standings. And the Dodgers are abusing the Orioles right now. Oh no, they just abused them. Well, it was 2-1, right. But the 2 was really, really nice, and now they're doing some things to the Texas Rangers. But and I like the Rangers uniforms last night, by the way. It was a nice little TX. But the American League East is really strong right now, and I just wanted to tip my cap to them because again, every team is over 500. And then the National League picture, the Braves are still over and above everybody in the National League right now, but the Dodgers are closing ground. And then the Brewers are right there. The Brewers are faltering a bit, and the Dodgers are on a streak. So they've now surpassed the Brewers. So the Dodgers are in second place in the National League. But it's looking like the Braves and the Dodgers as kind of a 2-horse race in the National League. And then in the National League West, San Diego's fallen behind a bit, but Arizona and San Francisco. So they're your Diamondbacks, Nina. Where did you have it? Yeah. Arizona and San Francisco are tied right now. And so they look strong. They're both going to be wild card teams. And then it looks like the Phillies will also be a wild card team. So that's that. It looks like that'll be your 6. That'll be your teams that your 6 teams that make it. With probably the Braves and the Dodgers getting that first round bye. But I think the best record in the American League is going to come out of the American League East, and they look strong. So it'll probably be much like the National League West, where you have 3 teams come out of the East into the playoffs. I don't think they'll get 4, but I think they will get 3. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm just happy to know it's not going to be the Red Sox that are up there, especially with someone's affinity for the Red Sox. So yeah, I'm glad to see that. Yeah. There we go.
So I was thinking about when back in those wonderful days, those 23 years, I used to go up to when the Lakers first got to the Staples Center. I would go up there and cover the games, and we would go into what was later be called Chick Hearn Media Room. But that's where we would eat. They have the pregame meal in there, and one of the servers and runners, I cannot remember that guy's name, but he was always really, really nice to me. And we would talk baseball, and he knew that I was a Red Sox fan at the time. And he would always say to me, "No, it's the Junkie. The Junkie, they the best team. AC is the Junkie." And he was such a nice guy, and I wish I remembered his name, but he always told me about the Junkie. And yeah, I mean, I don't care about the Junkie one way or another at this point. I don't care about the American League East. But, if I did care about any American League team at all, especially now that Dusty Baker already got his ring or finally got his ring, it would be the Red Sox. But I don't care if you don't care for the Red Sox, Sam. You can't incite me. I know that we've had people on the podcast in the past that have gotten in their feelings when we started talking about baseball or when we started talking about LeBron James or whatever. But I just leave people where they are. And like I said, if they don't show up where they're supposed to be, then I just get on the bus and leave. And then maybe they don't get invited back. So anyway, that's episode 110 of the Collective Podcast. Now we're going to go to the closeout. Rodney, close out. You got 90 seconds.
I just hate that my girl Nikki McCrae passed, man. I can't reiterate that enough. She was one of the sweetest people I knew when we lived in D.C. and she was playing for the Mystics. We used to meet at Houston's restaurant and just chop it up, like every other week. And she was the sweetest, and I know some of her family members, they coincidentally grew up in Long Beach, the McCrae family. So my prayers to that family, and we'll just try to keep going. I got a colonoscopy set up. If you haven't had one, go get it done. I'm scared to death, but I'm getting it done. So go get it done.
Thank you for that, Rod. And blessings to you. Prayers to you that it's good news when you get your colonoscopy. And since you brought it up, prayers to Nikki McCrae Pence and her family. And I thought it was amazing that, how people, when it's time to grieve, they, say, oh, in lieu of flowers or in lieu of donations to our person, send money somewhere else. Or, they wanted people to contribute to the K Yao Fund. breast cancer. K-Yow passed of breast cancer, and the K-Yow fund is something that has raised millions of dollars for cancer research. Um, there's a movement in every women's basketball season called Play for K, where the teams will wear pink and play in honor of K-Yow and raise money and awareness um, for cancer research. So um, yeah, Nikki McCrae. I didn't know her like Rod, but like I used to be in love with Nikki McCrae. Like after that first time that I played with them, and then just watched. I already watched her a little bit in the ABL before that, before I met her, um, and she won 2 championships with the Columbus Quest. So I already liked her, but like after playing with her, it was like, wow, you're real and you bad. Like that was super dope. So I'm glad that she got to do so many things in basketball and for basketball. She even won a championship alongside Dawn Staley as her assistant coach. So that was kind of dope. And then she also became a head coach. So prayers to her family. Nikki McCrae will definitely be missed. She was, from by all accounts, she was a great person, and she was definitely great for the sport of basketball as a whole. So yeah, all right. I'm glad you got a chance to know her. That's super amazing. Go ahead, Sam.
Let's see. As we wrap things up, as we wrap up episode 110, I can't stress the importance enough of just letting your friends and family know that you love them, even if it's through just simply a text. But preferably if you can pick up the phone or if you can go and see them. We're seeing this year alone, I've lost 4 friends that I was really close with. And so it really has made me reflect on life a bit more in terms of letting people know that you value, you appreciate them, you love them. Even if you've had issues before, being able to forgive them, just to allow them to know that you love them, that's so important. And I can't stress the importance of that enough. And then lastly, I just want to thank you brothers for allowing me to join you. I was the brother man from the fifth flow for a minute as the resident guest, but thanks for allowing me to remain on the podcast with you. You guys know how I feel about you as individuals. You're men that I truly respect, and men that I feel provide great value as fellow fathers. And I'm learning a lot about you guys and how important family is to you. And so you have the utmost respect for me, man. So I just want to reiterate, man, make sure you just reach out to someone that you know and let them know that you love them and value them, man. That's so important. That's it for me.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and that's something that we usually close out with, like, hey, talk to your family, tell them you love them, that whole thing. I recently had something with one of my family members, and I don't even talk to most of my family, so if it's something with one of my family members, then it's probably with somebody that you know. So it had been like a week, and so I reached out yesterday and talked through a couple things, and then reached out this morning just to say love and all of that. So that's really, really, really important. So thank you for that, Sam. And people can be gone. My grandmother just had her heavenly birthday last week, and or I guess it was the week before. And I miss her. I miss my grandmother quite a bit. Definitely the matriarch of the family. My kid is 5, and my grandmother's been gone for 9 years. 9 years. So she never got a chance to meet her, but she loves her too, and she talks about her sometimes as if she knew her, and she likes to go sit in her rocking chair and rock, and that's amazing. And again, when I think about my life and how this week went for me, and how I didn't have anything going on outside of family and friends, and I wasn't tripping about it at all. Like I wasn't wanting for anything, I wasn't missing anything. Um, really, really a great week. My headache is gone, by the way, Sam. Really a great week, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be able to do the things that I'm able to do and make the impact that I'm able to make. And yes, Sam, you're welcome. We're glad to have you here. And, one thing that's important for me, that was important for me and has remained important for me is that, I wanted this collective podcast to be quality output, a quality product. I wanted people to look forward to hearing from us in the beginning and then, seeing us and hearing us as we progressed. And I feel like your voice is a voice that was needed. Like, I think that in the beginning, people agreed to come and maybe it was like something to do during the pandemic. And I don't know that everybody actually wanted to be here. And clearly, they didn't. But I didn't know that. But, somebody talked to me at one point and was like, hey, people, if they don't want to be there, you got to keep that in mind. Like, they might not know how to tell you. So it's like, all right, well, just let people's actions show whether or not they want to be here. And you, as someone from the outside who clearly wanted to be here, like, why would we not want to have you? You want to be here. Let's have you. And then when you speak of the trilogy, what's hilarious, and I just thought about this today, is Rodney is a senior, I'm a junior, and you're the third. Like, what? That's so that's so wild. Rodney had to have a kid to be senior. I'm junior, and then you're the third, and then there's actually a fourth, which is just crazy. But that's super dope. So listen, much love. We went a little over what I planned to go. But I think that we covered the things that we needed to cover. We needed to, introduce you, Sam. So welcome, welcome to the party, y'all. This was episode 110 of the Collective Podcast. As always, we appreciate you guys being here. I just, yeah, thank you. Anybody who watches, anybody who watches the replay or listens on a DSP or listens while they're cleaning up on the weekend, however you consume us, we appreciate you consuming us. So thank you, and let us know if you need anything else, anything from us. We'd love to give you, anything else that we can give, but we absolutely appreciate you. So this was episode 110 of the Collective Podcast. I am AC from LA. One of those guys is Saucier Senior. Thank you, Nina. And by the way, Rod, she was talking to you when she said you'll be fine. Great job. She's talking about you. Nina said good job, and Nina said that she wants to give us $1 million. Okay, Nina, we'll take it. Just get it to us. Get it to us as soon as you can. I think we deserve it, and we'll take it. And again, AC from LA, Saucier Senior, SG3, which is also SG the third. We appreciate you, and we're out of here. Thank you.